All right. Here we go. All right. So I want to start here, right? Everybody's kind of got the course outlines and everything now. Um, and right, really understand, right, like our why, right? Like everybody's whys is a little bit different. But for me, one of the things I've discovered working with different coaches and the mentors I have over time, especially in the sales side of this, right, is where you put these points, right, in relationships, growing, making money, accolades, and recognition, will help if you can refocus them correctly, will help you become really, really successful at sales. Um, and so for me, when I was young, if you gave me 10 credits, I'm going to say I want 10, like 9 on money, 1 on growing. Like that's what I would have said in my early 20s. Right. And then as I got a little older, I would have been like, give me 7 on 3, 2 on growing, 1 on relationships. Right. Like that's as I got there. And then as I really started to like, I'm a guy, I'm dumb. So like you got beat me over the head a few times. Like as I started to develop more emotional intelligence, getting older, okay, these things different, matter to me. But then I had to figure out like, how do I want to communicate with people? And right, like we're all very different, right? Like how we talk to people, how we communicate with them is different. So, and I've discovered what I believe is like, and again, working with coaches, one of these will catapult the rest. So, I'm gonna pick on a few different people here. I'm gonna take some seasoned vets. I'm gonna take some new people and talk about it. So, I'm gonna pick on Linda because Linda is big on self development. Linda, where would you spread your 10 credits out through this?
Today,
Yeah,
right now,
right now. Where would you spread them?
I would say, um, make sure it's 3 relationships, 3 growing, 3 making money, 1 accolades and recognition.
Okay, great. And let's do somebody that's, a little bit newer. I see Tyler's face, so I'm gonna pick on Tyler. Where are you at on this, Tyler?
Probably right now, four on making money, 3 on relationships, 2 on growing, and 1 on accolades and recognition.
All right, and let's do brand new. So for those who haven't met Naresh yet, Naresh is brand new. He's direct to me, and he's just getting going. And he's coming from corporate America. So Naresh, right, as a brand new agent, just getting started, where do you think you land in here?
I will show you what I've written, but I am exactly what Tyler said.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. And I think a lot of people spread that out. But for me, what I think makes a huge difference is stacking growing. Okay. Because if you stack growing, do we believe that relationships will grow as I learn how to grow and I learn how to communicate and I learn how to talk to different personality styles, right? And if I'm learning to do that when I'm connecting with clients and communicating with them, will that ultimately lead me to make more money, right? It probably will. And in that, in turn, and we'll use symmetry, is going to get your name on the leaderboard. And it's probably going to get you accolades and recognitions, right? So I think one of the major problems in sales, and I am very guilty of this, especially for a good chunk of my career, is I was so focused on making money, right? As much as I believe in personal development, I wasn't growing enough, right? I wasn't growing enough emotionally, spiritually, just all of the combined. And when I really focused to growing, just like dominoes falling down a stream, right? It's amazing. Relationships got better as I got rid of some and I got some new ones, right? I'm personally not afraid to cut a relationship out of my life. Because right, like I'm just not doing, I'm not doing that. I'm old enough now. You can go. But right, then it flows into making money and accolades and recognition, right? So as we get that from there, right, let me open this now. Hold on. All right. So, right, I want to talk about mindset and how growth like reads into that. I listed some of my favorite authors and podcasters that I like to check out. Everybody knows who Tony Robbins is for the most part, I would assume. Uh, if you don't, I'm pretty surprised. But if you don't, lot of free stuff on the internet with him, right? I'm a big Jim Rohn fan. Jim Rohn was very influential early in my career, really helping me. Jim Rohn is who Tony Robbins, Tom Hopkins, Tracy, those guys looked up to as Jim. So Jim had a big impact. If you want some self-motivation to like quickly look at it, there's a guy named Rob Dial. He does a YouTube podcast 4 days a week. It's like a 15-minute mind shift set. It's great. I listen to it every day. It's really, really helpful. Like it's really there. And then a gentleman I like watching, his name's Sebastian Enges. He's really good. Like he's really big on mindset, how to talk to people. And then I'm a big Brian Tracy fan. So as we talk about that, right? We say this, but are we actually like implementing it? So, she's gonna like yell at me later and probably like throw something at me, but I'm gonna pick on Walnetta now. So she knew it was coming when I said that. So I want to hear about Walnetta's morning routine because she's in mountain time, right? And I see her up on the team calls, doing her walks. How does that routine help you through the day?
Well, first of all, it helps me to be organized, right? I have everything written down on my planner, my calendar, and so my first thing, and I get up and I write 5 things I'm grateful for, and then I do Scott's call, whichever one it is, Monday, Tuesday call, Wednesday podcast, Thursday Kelly Zoom, and then I do my walk. And during that walk, there could be something on there like I'd like to go on the Slingo Woods Huddle. That really helps me. And then whatever calls are on that day, I do those. And then I feel lucky being in Mountain Time because the calls are all over by 11 o'clock my time, basically, right? So I still have time to do my follow up with carriers, do a morning dial session, then lunch. I have to write down eating because if I focus, I'm very bad at skipping meals. So I have to write that down. And then any appointments that I have, I'm also doing advanced market. So, if I'm doing, there's advanced market calls, there's annuity calls, there's IULs, FIF reset, all of those that I'm fitting into my day, as well as doing my conversations with client or leads. And then before I go to bed at night, I write 5 things I'm grateful for. So I'm doing that morning and night and then I'm also reading in between then too. So
how has that impacted your career and your personal life? Like, what has that done for you?
Well, it's made me more focused. I'm a lot nicer to be around, and I'm not saying every day is perfect because it's not. I have things that come up, but it has helped me just to stay in the business, for one thing, because it's not easy. Sometimes it's hard. And I started out not wanting to dial, but I'm okay with that now. But it just it helps me to connect with people, and to stay focused. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Is I am very much, I talked about this morning on book club, I'm very much like, oh, squirrel, 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 I'm just I'm all over the place. and this, if I look at my I'm like, okay, this is what I have to do right now.
Right.
So-
So if we're all honest with each other, right, and honest with ourselves, more importantly, right, are you really like, are we setting ourselves up with a morning routine that's making us more effective? If you've had a chance to listen to James Johnson be on a call yet, right? Someone that literally had a heart attack at a Symmetry event, and you know how it really changed his perspective on life, and what he does, right? And he's big on visualization, affirmations, right? Our mind will completely change if we visualize it. What we focus on, right, with visualization is what you will achieve, right? If you ever listen to someone, right, and if anybody here, let me see a show of hands, anybody ever gone to like one of like the cool new go-kart tracks recently, right? Anybody ever been to one of those? Okay. When they get to the instructions, when they are ready to go, the instructor will get real serious and he will say, hey, somebody's going to crash on here. And if he does, do not look at them, because if you focus on them, you're going to run into them. Make sure you focus on the track, right? And it's the same way in sales. If you are focused not on where you want to be and where you want to go, you are going to achieve what you are focusing on, right? And we've all probably done both sides. When we've thought about it and worked at it, we've visualized where we want to be. I can't stress this enough, because this helped me in my sports career, like so much. Like I would just think about like winning the game and winning the game and winning the game. And I've taken that into here. Like when I go into my calls with my clients now, right, I'm visualizing helping them. I'm visualizing putting the policy in place. And as crazy as it is, we have to rewire our brains on how they work, right? And it's really easy to skip over this and just say, oh yeah, I visualized, and you did it for 2 seconds, right? But it literally helps us rewire, right? And now let's talk about affirmations. And I'm going to pick on somebody that might not give me a hug now when she meets me because I asked her, but I have a feeling she does these. And I want to get to know her better. So Helen, I would love to hear about what you do for affirmations.
I have a list of them written down on my phone.
Yep.
And because I drive into town every morning and it takes me 40 minutes, I actually have my phone. I don't read it because I kind of know what they are, but I sit there and I just say them over and over again, because I can be a negative person and I'm training myself to be more positive. So I've actually am more positive than I used to be. So, but every single morning I sit there when I drive in town and I'll sit there and say them and say them and say them. And even on my way home, I will too.
And how long have you done that for?
Oh, probably I always have done it. Well, since I've been here, I've done it more in the past year, but recently in the past couple months, I've done it religiously.
And what difference have you seen in the last couple months doing that religiously?
It's made things totally different in my life, because when I talk to Linda constantly, if I say anything negative, she gets on me. So I'm like, now it's like ingrained in my brain not to be negative. So now that I do this, it's like, even though sometimes I feel like something might go wrong, I totally get it out of my brain and I start saying positive things, say my affirmations, and things just tend to go right. Everything always seems to work out.
Right. Do you notice maybe people saying now, wow, you always catch a break. Things just seem to go your way. Do you feel like people say that to you now?
Yeah, I mean, people have said to me, well, things always work out. Things always work out for you. So, and now I constantly say to myself too, oh, it'll work out. Everything will work out. So yeah, you kind of just get into just saying that because you're so used to just, you totally train your brain just to think that way.
Right. So that's right. As crazy as it is, it's how our brains are wired. And you have to remember, our brains are wired to do the easiest thing possible. Our natural wiring wants to have air conditioning, a cool frozen cup of something to drink. Like our mind wants it to be easy on us, right? And so we have to train our brain to understand that other ways, right? So I think this is, and we're all here doing this, right? I'm trying to learn, we're all trying to learn, and I think we can learn from each other. So someone that I don't know incredibly well yet, but I know enough about him to know he's a big believer in continuous learning, right? I'm gonna pick on Mr. Dawson here today. Mike, when did you really start working on like personal development, reading books, learning from experts? And then when did you really do it? Like, because I personally started with, in my career, I was really focused on it when I started with Tom Hopkins. And then I got away from it, right? I was, 20s, 30s. I wasn't doing as much as I should. And then when I realized, oh, I missed that. I really need to do that. It got me back to making sure I was doing my affirmations and visualization. So what have you done and what are you doing continuously besides things like this to learn?
Yeah, great question. So I started my self-development journey just a short while before Symmetry. When I was working for ADT, one of my managers came in and said, "You guys are going to start reading books." And we're all like, what?" He's like, "Well, audiobooks." So we all purchased audiobooks. I created a library and started reading from there. So self-development started there. And then getting into Symmetry, it's like now it becomes, you're cool the more books that you read and the more understanding you have of leadership, right? Like it's one of the few times that you've been in a business where it's like, wow, like some of the coolest people are the most refined when it comes to the information they have, both in the business plus also self-development. What I do, I every day I start out listening to motivational videos, and it could be Tony Robbins, it could be Brian Tracy, it could be Les Brown.
Yep, I like Les Brown.
You know, there's a lot of them. Bob Proctor, I could probably name 20 names right now, but
Yep.
there's quite a few that I listen to in the morning. And then I'll occasionally pick up a book or an audiobook or something and read that. Affirmations, I do mine in a cold shower. So I do prayer and affirmations at the same time while taking a freezing shower. That's really what I do as far as affirmations goes. And throughout the day, I'll chant in my head different things. Years ago, it used to be that, my inner voice was like my worst enemy, and now it's my best friend. And it's constantly like affirming the things that I'm doing. And like Helen had said, that, the more and more that you get that inner voice to be on your side, the more luck just seems to happen and the more things open up for you.
Yeah, the old saying, the harder I work and the more I work at it, the luckier I get, right?
Yes.
They seem to go hand in hand. So from that, how's that impacted your day-to-day, life working within Symmetry? Like, how does that affect your clients, your building? What's that done for you?
Oh man, well, I just get lucky. I just get, I'll get somebody on the phone. Linda and I run about 95% of our appointments together, and we just stumble across opportunity because we focus on building the connection and, the relationship rather than just making a sale. And we're okay with having a couple conversations with people because that's what we're planning on doing anyways. We want us to be that person that they reach out to and confide in. Not just in insurance also, but to answer your question more pointedly, recruiting gets a little bit more easier when you're attractive to other people, because the happy-go-lucky attitude and just being positive is an attraction. Nobody wants a negative Nelly. People want people that are more positive and a light in their life. Like if you're in a dark tunnel with somebody, the last thing you want is somebody complaining about the dark. You want somebody that has the flashlight.
I couldn't agree more. Right. So that goes in with like physically taking care of ourselves, right? And exercise. And so this is something I'm gonna pick on myself now. Okay. So a lot of you don't know, but about 3.5 years ago, I fractured my wrist really, really bad. I have 2 plates and 15 screws in my right wrist. Like I can't do that with my right wrist. I can't play golf now. I literally basically can't feel my pinky. I got 20% damage in my UCL nerve. And man, it just made me really inactive. Like I couldn't turn the key in my truck for 6 months to start my truck, and I did rehab 5 days a week for a year. I've spent a lot of money trying to get it better, but it also like affected my health. Like I put on extra weight. I'm not in the shape I was because I just literally like couldn't work out. So something I've done recently, and I want some accountability partners in this, is one, I discovered pickleball, and I can actually play pickleball because, and for those that don't know me well, I am obnoxiously competitive. So taking golf away was hard for me because I was a single digit handicap. Like that's what I did, was play golf. Well, I can play pickleball. Like I can hold it. I don't have enough range yet, and I'm pretty naturally good at it. But what I've done recently is I signed up with Corey, who was on the national sales call, who's there in Asheville and has developed the course. And I'm going to spend a pretty good chunk of money for personal one-on-one coaching because I'm also a miser with my money. And if I'm spending money on it, I'm going to do it. So like, it's there, but I want some accountability partners from you guys to me on that side of it to like ask me how I'm doing, check in. Because again, my body doesn't want to do it. Like my body, if it had a choice, would never do it again. Right. But I know that's what I need for my health because I want to be around here a long time. And I got to get my wrist better. So when I'm in my 70s and 80s, it can at least halfway function because I got to figure that out. So, but you know, Mike just talked about cold showers. I'm a big one of that. I like cold plunge. I like cold showers. It is uncomfortable. Never once have I gone in and say, yay, I get to do a cold shower. I say yay after it's done. I say yay after the cold plunge. It sucks while you're in it, right? And it's just not incredibly fun. But we have to, you know, we sit a lot, right? Like, you know, we sit a ton. Like this is like, I'll show you guys. My wife actually saw my schedule today and she commented on it, right? Like I'm gonna switch like what I'm sharing here. Like this is like a typical week schedule for me, right? That's my schedule, right? Like that's how much I have going, like in a day to day. Those are all appointments, meetings, interviews, training, everything I got to do, right? Like it's my butt is in my seat, so I have to like get like moving around in order to, you know, be able to have that work, right? So I'm asking from my end, right? Help me with that, right? That's one of the things I would love for there. You know, Linda can channel her general Mama Chung, you know. So
Mama Chung is General Chung. I am Major Chung.
oh, Major Chung, I like it. So we call my
Major
mom the
Chung,
we call my
ground
mom the
control.
dictator. So but that's, you know, that's there. So let's, you know, let's talk about the last one I had on there, right? Is surround yourself with positivity. One of the coolest things for me being newer here is who I've been able to surround myself with, right? It has been I saw Esther's comment. It was a music reference, so I appreciate that. That's been the coolest part, right? Is being around so many like-minded people. Like I've cut a lot of people out of my life because I just will. Like I'm not getting drugged down, right? And I've been drugged down by family, by friends, like we've all been there. So I'm not gonna pick anybody for this. I'd love for somebody to volunteer though, to like share what being around that, right? What being around that positivity like has done, and like being around peers and mentors and a community that actually genuinely cares. Like what has that done? Because I've come from corporate America before I had my business. Like I hated it. Like that culture was awful. Like I can still tell you about the worst CEO I've ever had. He was a -7 out of 10 leader. He had no idea how to lead people. And it was right. Nobody wants to be around that. And vice versa. The people I've been on Zoom with, the people I've met here are fantastic leaders because they work on it. So I'd like to hear from some people about how you've surrounded yourself and how you do that, not just the with, but the how. Like, have you reached out to people? You know, Stephen, I lied. I'm gonna pick on Stephen because I think Stephen will be great for this, right? How have you done that here?
Yeah, well, you know what? I think a lot of you know kind of my little bit of my journey. You know, I had taken a step back last year, and kind of rededicated myself this year. And I'll just just talk about, because it's top of mind. So I was talking to Linda this morning because we had coffee, which is awesome. I think I've been, everyone's been very supportive of me, and I just, conversations with Debbie Woods, right? Esther calls me. I've been having a chance to have a couple one-on-ones in person with Linda. Rededicated myself going to conference, all kind of important. And then what happens is that motivates me and gets my confidence going. And people are calling me now, like who or maybe are new to the business and ask for my advice. And it's kind of you give a little and you get a little, and so I think the association has been extremely important to kind of my whole turnaround with my mindset. And with that, I think my results have gotten better, so I think it all goes hand in hand.
The
But
10K hat says it's gotten better.
yes, but in full disclosure, right? It took a couple of people, whether they knew it or not, to kind of give a little push on me in a positive way to get me to go again. So the association is key.
Yeah, so I know we have some newer agents on here. Some are already signed up and going. You heard me talk about it a little bit, but I didn't realize how much I missed the in-person association till I went and got some. And then I went and got some and I was like, oh, I really, really missed that. Like, as strong a pioneer as I am also like, my connector voice is really strong. So that for me is like really important. So it's there. And then I wanted to start here as we're getting into the sales training, because I think the nuts and bolts of it, we're going to be able to like do interactive stuff that'll really help. But if we don't have our mindset right, if we don't have that like figured out and are really putting that in place, we're not going to be as successful as we want to be, right? And as you read what I wrote, I don't want it to be the buzzword, right? Like it's a little bit of a buzzword on like social media right now because people are figuring out, oh, it actually matters. Like it really makes a difference. And then as I've gotten to know people here for a while, right? That's how this company is formed, founded, and driven upon, right? It's there. So I know as someone, and I want to end with this, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of my personal story to help you understand that you can overcome anything you want at any time, okay? Because if I did it, I really believe anybody can do it. So I share this and I'm going to get real personal right now, but I'm going to do that because I did all this stuff to change how I think, okay? So in my life, my father, if it was now and I was raised the way I was, my father would be arrested by CPS for the beatings I took. My father was a very, very aggressive alcoholic, okay? He would literally go to jail. Like I showed up at school with black eyes, like he was a very mean drunk. During that time when I was a kid, I was very badly, about 7, 8 years old, very badly sexually abused by a man. It was an awful experience, really messed me up. And then I lost my dad to suicide at a pretty young age. My dad killed himself. And it really messed me up because I didn't deal with it. I took it, put it in a box and just pushed it away. And when I talk about how I started off really strong and then I let it go, it ate at me, right? And I didn't work on it and I didn't do it and I didn't do anything about it. But I can tell you from a personal testament, by putting a morning routine in and visualizing and having affirmations and learning and surrounding myself with the right people, it will radically change your life. It will radically do it. I became a Christian. I've gone to a lot of counseling. I've gone to therapy and it helped and I've dealt with it and I can talk about it now. And I talk about it because I want to use that to help people. So know if you've ever gone through that in your life, you have someone here you can privately reach out to if you don't want to talk about it publicly. And you can talk to me anytime you want because it sucks to go through that, not have anybody to talk to. But on the opposite end, if you do what we're doing here and you get in the community and you learn how to mentally get there, we're going to be able to show you how to take that and then have a screwdriver and a hammer and a wrench and know how to open and close and follow up and teach you that skill set. So understand that that's there and that's possible. And you can really like radically change yourself no matter how old you are. So that's what I got for today. Sorry we had to, I want to keep it 30 minutes or so, you know. Sorry we kept it, I was a little bit late, but like I said, I'm also a hooker and I want to sell a policy. So that's that's kind of how I feel about that. And I had her on the hook. So I'm glad I got that done. But thank you, everybody. If anybody has any questions, it's there. And then what I'm going to do is a little bit earlier in the week, now that we're a little more set up, I'm going to send out stuff like this each week that says, hey, this is what we're going to focus on for the training next week. I already know in my head I'm working on it. We're going to work on follow-up and interactively how to do it. So I have some really cool stuff to show what we can do. And I'm going to ask a couple people as me who's newer and doesn't have policy reviews yet, right? Like I don't have your old policies yet, right? Like I want to talk about that and like really use like some stuff I've learned to help. But more importantly, like I'm going to give a little homework, kind of like I did with the 4 quadrants, right? So now if you sit down and look at that 12 quadrants, use that when I shared that too, use that when you interview people. So, you know, I use that if you're hiring, I use that to interview agents with, and I use that and I ask them where it is because it gives me a gauge of where they are. And it'll help you show that we are a leadership training development company and personal growth company that sells insurance, right? It'll help there and really help you get going. So I appreciate all of you. Thank you. And let's go close some policies. I need to go post some APV. So
Thank you, Trevor.
Thank you, Trevor.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Trevor.
Trevor.
We
Thank you,
really
Trevor.
appreciate
Thank
you.
you. We love
Thank
you.
you. Yeah,
all right,
we
talk to you
do.
soon.
You're the